I'd given my kids very strict instructions. Only call me if it is an absolute emergency.
Yeah.
Car accident. Somebody has lost an eye. Somebody
Yeah.
is
Like
not breathing.
really.
So my phone rings and it's my son Noah, and he's crying, and I'm like, "Oh my God, Noah, what is it? What is it?" He goes,
Yeah.
Mom, Elijah ate all the Cheez-Its.
We are Moms Unhinged, a nationally touring stand-up comedy show. Join us in our podcast as we explore everything from motherhood, midlife crisis, marriage, divorce, online dating, menopause, and other things that irritate us. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moms Unhinged, the podcast. I'm your host, Andrea Marie, and I am here with the lovely Jennifer Rawlings today. Welcome,
Hey,
Jennifer.
Andrea, I'm so excited to see you. I am loving your flowers going on in the back and the grass growing and all your artwork. And
It's all fake. It is all... Oh my gosh. Well, I am so excited to talk to you. You have done so many different things. It's just so fun to see all the things that you have accomplished and done, and it's just amazing. So we're going to dive right in.
You're so sweet. I've done and failed at everything at least twice. And then
That's what it's about, right? It's just
right.
putting yourself out there, and it doesn't always go the way it goes in our head. So first of all, you were born, you're from all over. We were just talking about this before we started. You're all over. I feel like you're global. You were born, though, in Salina, Kansas.
I grew up in Salina, Kansas.
Yeah,
and
right in the smack middle of the country.
Right in the middle. And I raised my 5 kids in LA. And then we spend a lot of time on the East Coast, too, because I really enjoy theater and have developed shows for that. And so kind of trying to keep in the art.
Right. So let's talk about the shows that you have developed. You have one woman show that is called I Only Smoke in War Zones.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it was really fun. So I developed it at this place called the Cornelia Street Cafe in New York City, where Eve Ensler developed the vagina monologues.
Yeah.
And so I Only Smoke in War Zones. I toured it all over the world, like the Humor for Peace Festival and different theaters kind of everywhere. And then a little while ago, we filmed it as a special. And the crazy thing is, my 2 co-directors are 50 years apart.
Whoa.
And Eve Branstein, who I worked with years ago before I had all these wrinkles. And the other co-director was my youngest son. He's a young filmmaker, and he's actually he did the last 2 Super Bowls. He's doing the halftime at FIFA on the camera team. And he also was on the camera team of Taylor Swift's Eros film.
Oh my God.
No, if he is good enough for Swiftie, he is good enough for me. So I let him co-direct it. And he did an amazing, amazing job. And so that was so fun to have like my youngest son, who lived my journey of 350 shows for the military in 70 countries, kind of come full circle with your child. So that was really fun. But so I Only Smoke in War Zones is both funny and serious, because obviously going to war zones definitely changes the way you see the world. And it's really, if you were to just knock it down to one line, it's mom in a war zone and her true stories. And so it's like David Sedaris meets Eve Ensler or something like that. What it is.
Right.
So it's fun. So it's been in festivals recently, and it won Best Documentary in Monaco. And in Las Vegas, and it won Most Creative at different festivals and stuff like that, Women's Empowerment.
Wow.
And so now it's going to be streaming soon on multiple platforms near you.
Wow, that's so amazing. First of all, it's like there's just so many layers of amazing to that journey. Just the fact that you had 5 kids and you were touring at the same time?
Yeah, well, so I wouldn't have been so motivated to go to war zones if I only had one kid. But so
You had to
I
get out of the
was like,
house. It
hey,
was
my phone
calmer.
doesn't work half the time over here.
It is calmer in the war zone than at
It
my home.
is. I mean, 4 of my 5 kids I had were under the age of 7, like when they were born. Like, and it was just anybody out there with multiple kids, I bet you can relate to this because
Yeah.
I would, as a young mom with kids at home, and I'd have to go to the grocery store, I would literally like start crying because one would be standing up in the cart,
Yeah.
one would be taking stuff off the bottom shelf, one would be like hitting the other one,
Oh my
and you're like,
gosh.
I just want 5 minutes to myself.
Yeah.
So, then I got a call to go to war zones. And I was like, oh, a war zone, dangerous, no money. Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, how did that actually start? How did that come about? Like, what was the first? Did you like submit something? Did you like,
So it was actually never a plan. I got a phone call one day from, I get a phone call one day and it's like, hey, Jennifer, it's John blah, blah, blah from William Morris. And I'm like, who? And he's like, John blah, blah, blah from William Morris, your agent? And I was like, oh my gosh, you've never called me before? I did not recognize your voice. And he was like, well, how'd you like to go to a war zone for no money? And it's really dangerous. I was like, that sounds amazing. And so I get on the plane headed for Iraq because, the world changed.
and
It was
and so
never
you
a
were,
plan.
but you were at that time, you were doing comedy at that
I
time,
was
and we'll
doing
get back
comedy.
to
I used
yeah.
to, yeah. So my origin story in comedy
Uh-huh.
was I did very first place I ever did stand up was called Who's on First in New York City,
Oh,
and after doing it exactly once, I moved to LA.
to go out. I am gonna break into Hollywood after once.
I was so naive. I go to the Improv in Hollywood the very first night, and Bud Friedman was still alive. At bless his heart, he gave me and so many people their start. And I go to the Improv the very first night, and I was like, "Hi, I'm like in my 20s. I'm like, hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm a comedian." After he called me once, and I go, I want to perform here. And he goes, oh, you got to come back on Sunday night and put your name in a hat. And then they draw it out of the hat. And I look at him and I go, well, why can't I just go on now? And he let me go on stage. And I'm pretty sure my material was horrible,
Yeah.
but I did have stage presence.
Yeah.
And so something in my little young head knew better than to ask for a critique. So I didn't say, how did I do?
No.
I said, you don't have to give me the best spots. I just want to work.
Yeah.
And this was the crazy thing, Andrea. He said to me, he said, call in on Friday with your availabilities. So I became a paid regular my
Oh
second
my
time
God.
doing stand-up.
Oh my God. You
And I just owe so much to Bud Friedman. Thank you, Bud.
Oh my God. You probably like that telling that story probably will make half the comedians out there in America want to strangle you just a little bit, just a little.
Probably.
That people were like trying so hard, going to so many open mics, working.
It was also
and you're
a
like,
different time for women, that's for sure.
yeah. You're like, what? That was easy.
Nobody ever commented on what I should wear at a club and how my appearance should be. Oh, no, that never happened.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. That's incredible. So you started doing comedy in LA and
I took like a lot of time. I would take like a decade off to have my kids.
Yeah.
And then early on when my kids were young, I was like, okay, well, I could go to the Chuckle Hutter in Indianapolis
Yeah.
and make like no money, or I could open for country acts. And so I used to do a lot of touring with country acts.
interesting.
And so I opened for a lot of different acts. And it wasn't as creatively exciting as, doing your own thing, because basically you're just filling time before the band
Right.
comes on.
Right.
Nobody can hear you, but
No.
it was a nice payday. So,
Yeah.
and also I think that's changed now, because now the labels get involved and they pay to have their acts go on. But
Yeah.
back in the day,
Yeah. Yeah.
back in
Yeah.
the day, you could go open for country acts or whoever, whatever suited you.
Yeah.
I was never a dirty comic. I mean,
Hmm.
a few swear words here and there.
Yeah.
So that was a natural fit. I mean, more
Yeah.
so than, opening for like, I don't know, somebody who,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. That is so cool. I love that arc and that story. So you said yes to the Warzone gig, and that just led to performing all over. Was it all over the world or
All over the
most?
world.
Yeah.
But the thing is that is not that is not a way to pay your mortgages or feed your
Right.
children.
Right.
That was a way for me, because it did change the way I saw the world.
Uh-huh.
And you recognize, oh wow, okay, I'm gonna get a little heavy here. You
Yeah.
do recognize, oh wow, the real weapon of mass destruction in the world is poverty, and
Mm,
I need to speak to what I see going on. And I'm not a
yeah.
political comic whatsoever, and I'm still not, but I do speak to humanity.
Uh-huh.
And so that really shifted. And because of that decision to kind of share things that I saw and did, I okay, well, we'll just jump into this because this is included in my special. So
Yeah.
this is one of my other hats I wear, and I probably should have them all on right now because my hair looks like crap. But
No,
anyway,
no.
one of the other things I did, which is also a sidetrack, but I think really the same thing, because I think people misunderstand comedy a lot. I think
Hmm.
people often think that comedy is simply setup and punchline, whereas I think comedy is a key to open a door to conversation.
Hmm.
During my travels to war zones, there was one particular day where my daughter, she was a teenager at the time, she's sitting outside. She had been in the swimming pool and she was sitting down to do her homework. And I look at my daughter and I'm like, Courtney, you need to go change out of your wet swimsuit or you're going to get a yeast infection. At which point, my 15-year-old daughter looked at me and she goes, it's my vagina. I'll do what I want. And I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
I would have never said something like that to my own mother.
Right.
So as she's sitting there doing her homework, I'm reading an article, and it's about this woman in Darfur whose child is starving.
Mm.
And she says to the journalist, she said, if the fighting would stop, I could feed my family again and life would go back to normal.
Mm.
And it was at that moment that I realized, oh, you know what? I know something that this woman doesn't, that all these trips to war zones all over the world, I know something she doesn't. And I start crying because I realize that this woman's life is not going to get better. And I think about all the other women that I've met whose lives have been destroyed by war. And as I'm sitting there crying, of course, my daughter, very concerned about me, looks at me and she goes, what are you crying about, Mom? And I'm like, oh, it's so sad what goes on in the world and how people suffer. And she's like, well, what are you going to do about it? You can't just sit around crying. What are you going to do about it? And I think, oh, I'm going to smack your face. But as I live in California. So then all night long, it's interesting how our kids really challenge us at all times.
Yeah. Right.
I thought about her question, what am I going to do about it? And in my head, logically, I'm a comic, I'm a mom. What could I possibly do for anybody, anywhere, at any time?
Hmm.
And then I went to sleep and I woke up the next morning. I was like, I'm going to direct a documentary about women in the aftermath of war. And so I decided I was going to direct a film in Bosnia about women in the aftermath of war. And the reason I chose Bosnia was because the war in Bosnia had been over for decades. Yet war was continuing to destroy lives. because of poverty and corruption and all those things that come to the forefront
Right.
in conflict. So when I woke up the next morning, I thought, okay, I'm going to call 2 friends and see if they want to, finance my, learning curve of filmmaking. Amazingly, they both said yes.
Wow.
And so with no training, I had never even shot a home movie before, no crew,
Yeah.
and, knowing nobody, no connections in Bosnia, I took a camera and bought a plane ticket and went there, and I directed this film. And then again, kind of shockingly, it was in festivals, and then over 100 universities over the years have used it as part of their human rights curriculum, or women's studies or religious studies, whatever category you want to put that in.
Yeah.
And so to me, comedy is so much more than just a setup and punchline. Comedy is a way to have a conversation with people that is out of love and all inclusive.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that is so true.
Healthy daughter.
Yeah, right. That's amazing. I know, teenagers, right? But like the thing that I love about comedy and art, I think that people don't realize what a true art form it is, and how it can change minds, or like you said, open up conversations, but open up like different perspectives, ways of thinking, because you point to the ridiculousness of something, and they're like, oh, yeah, why is it that works that way? That's weird, So I think comedy is like a very stealthy way to change minds and open eyes to situations.
I couldn't agree more. I think I think it's one of the most important, kind of societal lights that we have. Like, okay, people, look over here.
Yeah. That's great. That's amazing. Congratulations on all the success of that, and I just hope it continues. And because the thing is, like, war is not going anywhere. It's still, it doesn't matter that you filmed that, in Bosnia, that people barely remember that war. It's
right. Yeah, we've had so many since.
Yes, it is.
The other reason of that, because we were already in 3 different wars when I made that. I was like, well, hold on. Here's what happens when this is what happens years later when everybody says, okay, success, it's all over.
Yeah.
No, it's not so much.
Oh man. So, I want to talk about, you had mentioned you had kind of an unhinged moment while you were performing in a war zone. So I want to hear about that, because we always bring in unhinged moments in our parenting journeys here.
Right. So when I very first started, one of the blessings of going to war zones was that my cell phone didn't have any coverage.
Yeah.
But as the years went by, the coverage got a lot better. And so sadly, one day when I was in Afghanistan running to jump in a Black Hawk helicopter, and now, by the way, and I'm sure you've done this with your own kids, let me preface this by saying I'd given my kids very strict instructions. Only call me if it is an absolute emergency.
Yeah.
Car accident. Somebody has lost an eye. Somebody is not breathing.
Yeah.
So my phone rings, and it's my son Noah, and he's crying, and I'm like, oh my God, Noah, what is it? What is it? He goes, Mom, Elijah ate all the Cheez-Its. and all I can think of is I am 8,000 miles away. Your dad is 8 feet away, probably laying on the couch, watching golf. Why your dad can't go to the store. It's beyond me.
Oh my God. That is hilarious. That is crazy. So,
Crazy.
It's so funny. Yeah, you probably just took a minute to process that. What is happening here? What? Um, but like, when you were over there, were you in like danger? Was it?
Oh yeah. So the very first night that I was in Iraq, we flew into Mosul, Iraq, and this is before the fall of Fallujah, which was like a big battle at the time, you know.
Uh-huh.
And I'd never heard a bomb before, but there is no mistaking when
Yeah.
you hear it the first time.
Wow.
And so we had been given, as we were, okay, let me just go back a little bit. So as we're circling on the plane to land we were coming from Kuwait to Mosul, and the C-130 is like doing all these turns to avoid enemy fire. And when we land, our Captain Clark says, my rucksack is filled with survival gear, compass, tarp, flashlight, flares. If we're shot down, feel free to rummage through it to take whatever you need. I'll be dead.
Okay.
And as we walk off the plane, we are given 3 items. We are given a flak vest, a helmet, and a deck of cards. It was the deck of cards of Iraq's most deadly, like most wanted, whatever. And so that very first night in Mosul, after we had done, 3 shows that day, I'm sleeping in this kind of a stackable conic. It's like a stackable plastic thing. And we were given instructions that if a bomb goes off, we're supposed to go hide behind this cement barrier. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, sure enough, I hear a bomb go off. But at this point, I'm so tired because I'd flown across the country.
Oh, yeah.
I'd done 2 shows the day before in Kuwait, 3 shows that day in Iraq.
Oh my God.
And I just turned over on my military cot and I was like, oh, fuck it. I'm just going to
You know what
what
happens
was I going
happens.
to do? Like,
I'm really tired. Is that concrete wall really gonna save me? You know?
where is it? I wasn't really listening that much.
I wasn't really listening. I was tired.
I was tired. And who thought it was going to happen? So, yes, we were definitely, especially in those early days. And then there would, you would convoy to cross the street.
Yeah.
Because, there was insurgent fire. And that very first trip to Iraq, every single day at every base we were at, we were rocketed and mortared.
Wow.
And, you hear them going off and you're,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah. So after that first experience, obviously you weren't like, well, let me rethink my life choices here. You were like up for more touring. It must have been.
Well, so, and I know that sounds really silly, but I thought to myself, these are kids. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of them are 18,
Right.
years old. I mean, of course, there's the leadership, which is older and stuff, but, the vast majority of them are kids. And, they're gone 3, 6, sometimes a year.
Yeah.
3, 6 months, sometimes a
Yeah.
year. And I was like, if they can leave their families for a year and put themselves at risk, I can leave my family for, a month or whatever and go tell some jokes. And most of those tours, I mean, the longest one was a month. Most of those tours, I remember one time going to Korea for 48 hours and doing
Oh, wow.
shows. But it was really about thinking about, what can I do that is of service to people? And because I do have to say, it does mean a lot to the soldiers, because you do the show, but the real work is after the show. I mean, the real reward is after the show.
Yeah.
When people are coming up and, taking pictures and asking for autographs and giving you hugs and really just remembering that time with them. And I mean, one of my friends, Colonel Amber, I met her in Guam years ago and, we stayed in touch. She's been to my house for dinner. And then during, after the earthquake in Haiti, she reached out to me and she's like, hey, will you come, bring a friend and come do some shows for us. And so, you do make friends. And so, I mean, they were always, there was all the military shows obviously weren't all in war zones.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
was many other ones too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so great. That's so great.
Thank
That
you.
sounds so, yeah, sounds so rewarding. And now with your documentary, you were telling me you got to work with your son
I
doing,
got to work with my son, and he like
yeah.
he like lived through all the stuff, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
He was the one that ate all the Cheez-Its.
Oh. And now he was helping
And
you like,
now he directed it and edited it.
oh. Oh.
Yeah.
That's so
Now working
fun.
with your kids, I mean, ladies, if there's and the guy, I'm sure there's going to be one guy there. Um, if you can work with your kids on something, it is the most rewarding
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is so great, and you see all the things you did right and all the things you did wrong.
Yeah,
You're still
it
gonna
is
go,
fun.
Mom.
I know, I know. My son just graduated from Savannah College of Art and Design in film as well, and I'm having him do some film work for Moms Unhinged, doing a
Oh,
little
that's so
editing and things
great.
like
I
that. It
love
is
that.
fun. It is fun. That is awesome. It's great when the talents line up. Like if
Right.
if they're like a doctor, I don't know how you can work together, but
Right.
maybe I don't
Exactly.
know. That is awesome. So what have your kids thought about you doing comedy? Have they? I'm sure they've seen you. Have they?
They have all seen me many, many, many times. I think they kind of get a kick out of it,
Yeah,
because even though I was gone a lot, I was also there a lot. Like,
yeah,
you know.
right.
So, I mean, I remember one particular day. On a normal day, I would get up at 5:30 in the morning, make my kids lunches, because of course they had to go to different schools. Like,
Yeah,
God forbid they're at the same school.
yeah.
No, I had to go all over the place like a crazy person. Um, but I remember one day in particular, I think I got up at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I set aside their breakfast. I made their lunches, wrote
Yeah.
the little notes on their thing. Have a great day and inspire us to do the same. I fly to Dallas, rent a car, drive to tape a television show, drive back to the airport, and fly back and make them dinner.
Oh my gosh, that's
It was
crazy.
crazy,
Yeah,
absolutely insane.
that is wild. That is wild.
So I would try and be there. When I was there, I was there, but when I was gone, I
Yeah,
would try and be more gone, but
yeah,
they would still
yeah.
find my kids. No, I think they like it and appreciate it
That's
for sure.
that's awesome. I know it is kind of a funny thing to when they're young, but then when they're older, they're like, "That's pretty cool." I know my kids like
Right.
telling other people that their mom's a comedian. What? Um, we were also talking before we hit record about some unhinged times of being a sandwich generation
Oh
parent.
my gosh.
Yeah. So you were taking care of your kids and
Yeah.
your aging parents at the same time. And I think for me, I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting, with your kids,
Right.
everyone talks about how hard it is, but I didn't expect how much help my parents would need when they got older.
Well, and also so with my mom, it was a long thing with her needing help, and she was still in Kansas, and so I'd go back and forth. But with my dad, that was kind of the real crazy one. That was like 13 years ago. So, Elijah was a young teenager. I still had, kids at home.
Yeah.
And my dad passed away suddenly, but it was also sudden, like the week before, when he simply had like sciatica, and I
Yeah.
had to fly to go because my mom, had her health issues, and so then I go to Kansas, and neither one of my parents can get in and out of the car they have,
Yeah.
and then I'm driving them, and for the first time ever, because my dad was really healthy until he passed away. But he had been an attorney, and so he was always like in the middle of all the facts, all doing
Yeah.
A, B, C, D. So it was shocking and so disturbing when I said to my parents, "Okay, we need to go get you guys a new car because you can't get in and out of this car."
Yeah.
And they agreed. One,
Yeah.
they agreed with
Yeah.
me. And my dad let me do the test drive. So I was like,
Oh,
okay, this is crazy.
yeah.
There is
Yeah.
something going very wrong here.
Yeah. Yeah. It is wild to see your parents, kind of have that big change in their health. And you're like, oh, whoa, what?
What? You're being agreeable? You're not telling me.
Oh,
And so,
man.
yeah, that I think that, we're all prepared somewhat because we hear nightmare stories about, what it's like to have a baby and a toddler. And, but I don't think anything really prepares you for what it's like to have to take care of your kids and your
Yeah.
parents at the same
Yeah.
time, and then
Yeah.
somehow manage to like take a breath because
Yeah.
it's so exhausting and so emotionally draining. And then, and then the loss of the first parent, and it's just,
Yeah.
whew,
Yeah, they need a little book,
a
What
lot.
to Expect When You're Expecting Aging Parents or something like that,
Right. What to expect when your parents have totally
Yeah, gone into dementia.
left you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh, well, Jennifer, this has just been so much fun. I am so excited to see everything that you're doing out there in the world to help raise awareness around women in war zones and making people laugh and all of that. So thank you so much. Where can people find you? We'll put these links in the show notes, but where can they find
You
you to
can
learn more?
find me. Well, first of all, before I tell you where you can find me, I want to say thank you. I love what Andrea, what you do is so important. And, just the smiling faces, in the theater with your audiences. I mean, there is
Yeah.
just so much joy that you are spreading. And so
Yeah.
hats off to you, girl. Amazing.
No, thanks. Yeah.
Okay, you can find me at jenniferrawlings.com.
Yeah.
My website is a mess, so we'll try and make it better. Uh, Also, Jennifer Rawlings on Instagram. I have a Substack called Laughter is Beautiful, and it's the tagline is "In a world divided, laughter is a bridge." And look for I Only Smoke in War Zones streaming soon on a platform near you.
Yay. I love it. All right.
Thank you
Thank you,
so much.
Jennifer. Thanks for listening, and make sure you subscribe, share, and follow us on the socials to get more comedy clips.